Across the nation, voters have been heading to the polls in 5 states, including Pennsylvania. And the Republican Senate primary there is still too close to call, with Trump's pick, TV's Dr. Oz, neck and neck with former hedge fund CEO David McCormick. And then in the Democratic primary, Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, well, he came out rather on top just days after suffering that stroke and spending Election Day in surgery. Senior Washington correspondent Devin Dwyer and ABC's Alex Prochet are in Pennsylvania with the latest for us.
Hey, Kara, well, the Democratic side of that critical Senate race here in Pennsylvania is settled. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman winning in a landslide last night, despite the fact that he spent Election Day in the hospital because of that stroke and because he had a defibrillator and a pacemaker installed. 2.5-hour surgery on Election Day. Not a great way to start the general election campaign. This is expected to be the most expensive and contentious Senate race in the country this cycle. Democrats here picking Fetterman. The good news for his campaign is that the Republican side is still scrambled, might buy him some time to recover. My colleague Alex Prochet is covering the Republicans in this race. Alex?
Thanks, Devin. I'm here in Philadelphia, keeping an eye on this highly contested GOP primary. Both Dr. Oz and David McCormick neck and neck, both with about 31% of the vote, separated by maybe 2,500 votes at this point. One thing to keep an eye on in this race is Lancaster County. Per the Secretary of State, about 22,000 mail ballots were printed with the wrong code that can't be read by scanners, so county election officials will remark them. That process could take days. The other thing is an automatic recount here is triggered if 2 candidates are separated by less than 0.5%, Kira.
All right, Devin, Alex, there in Pennsylvania for us. Thank you so much. And joining me now to discuss a bit more, ABC News political director Rick Klein. First off, Rick, why don't we have a winner in Pennsylvania yet? I mean, 96% of the vote is in. Why is that not enough?
I'll give you 2 answers, one a short one and one a long one. The short one is it's close. 0.2 of a percentage point, 2,400 votes in an election that at least 1.2 million people cast ballots. That's only 0.2 of a percentage point. Even by Pennsylvania's own rules, you can have an automatic recount if you're under 0.5 percentage point. So at this point, there just isn't enough vote that has been counted to know for sure who won. And specifically, the slightly longer answer, if you look at some of the places where the vote is still out, some of the suburbs of Philadelphia, those are places that the 3 candidates split the vote up pretty evenly. So it's really hard to say based on that what the missing vote, what the vote we're waiting for, who that's going to favor, and the issues that Alex referenced, as well as mail-in votes, overseas absentee ballots. All of those things come into play. I should note, Kira, that former President Trump has a choice in this race, Dr. Oz. He is urging Dr. Oz to declare victory, saying that makes it harder for them to find votes later that would beat you. There is absolutely no evidence of any issues in this election suggesting fraud or efforts to overturn an election. It is a bad conspiracy theory that he's once again spreading. So far, the candidates themselves have not bought into it, but that is the tenor that now attends anything that goes on in the Republican Party when you have candidates that have embraced aspects of the big lie for the former president to inject that into it. We're not there yet, but we may be a few weeks away, and I mean weeks away, from knowing definitively who won that race.
All right, let's talk about the big lie, because former President Trump's pick won the Republican primary for Pennsylvania Governor Doug Mastriano. He pushed Trump's false claims that the 2020 election was stolen. He attended that Stop the Steal rally in Washington on January 6th when we saw the insurrection go down. So what's at stake if he wins in November?
And one other thing in addition to that, Kira, is that in Pennsylvania, the governor appoints the Secretary of State. Most states, it's an independently elected position, not in Pennsylvania. It means that a candidate will be on the ballot who, as you said, attended that rally and was part of the efforts in the Pennsylvania legislature and other legal efforts to try to overthrow the election. He will be the Republican nominee for governor. And it's not just there. There are Trump-backed candidates next week in Georgia, Texas, the Attorney General's race, and in dozens and dozens of other races where you've got Republican candidates who believe in the conspiracy theories around the last election, and in some cases even are publicly committed to saying that they would go back and try to relitigate the last election. In fact, Congressman Mo Brooks, who's running for Senate next week, he lost the Trump endorsement, according to Trump, because he refused to say that you could go back and revoke the presidency from President Biden. So this is not just about rhetoric. It's not just about what's being said. These are actual candidates running in actual races that might be populating the next Congress and the State House of the future.
Yeah, it's interesting when we talk about Trump's endorsements. Did they work? Did they not work? They might have at the beginning, maybe not necessarily what we witnessed yesterday. You've got the controversial GOP rep, Madison Cawthorn. He lost the race in North Carolina. Why do you think Trump's endorsement didn't secure his seat? And where else do you think, we could see Trump's endorsements fall short?
You also saw him lose in the Idaho governor's race, where he endorsed the lieutenant governor against the sitting Republican governor. And I think next week in Georgia, he's likely to fall short, according to the public polling, in the race for governor. There are a lot of other races like it. I think the answer, Kira, is that a Trump endorsement does matter, but it's not the only thing. It's not a golden ticket. It doesn't get you everywhere. And candidates do matter. Individual circumstances matter. They mattered in Idaho. They matter particularly in North Carolina with Madison Cawthorn. All of those scandals, all of the legal scrapes he's had, all of the ways that he has offended his own constituents and his colleagues, they add up. And ultimately, it would appear that voters in that 11th district in the western part of the state kind of got sick of it all. And they went with someone else instead, and they got rid of someone that could not have been a stronger Trump ally, and someone that President Trump was supporting even the day before the election. He said, let's give that kid a second chance, and that's not happening.
Yeah, at some point we all get sick of the scandal, don't we, Rick Klein? But we keep talking about it. Rick Klein, thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.